Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining. My name is Andrew, and this webinar is about ChatBridge for integrating Salesforce and Slack. ChatBridge helps you increase efficiencies within and between customer support with product marketing and sales teams. Before we get started, Safe Harbor announcement that this is informational purposes only. So please review this. And this is the agenda we have for the webinar. So I'm going to share with you about zAgile, the company, and talk about our products for customer support. Kind of cover at a high level your support team's goals, some obstacles to those goals. We're going to have, I'll talk through the overview of what ChatBridge is in terms of its features, capabilities, and benefits. And I'm going to hand it over to Sanjeev and Eric, who will kind of tag team for some demo scenarios. And then they'll pass it back to me for a conclusion, including contact information. So first off, a little bit about zAgile. So we were founded back in 2006, and we work specifically in the integration software segment, and we provide plug-and-play applications that integrate Salesforce with other applications and tools. So ChatBridge integrates with between Salesforce and Slack, and then we have other products that integrate Salesforce with Jira and also Confluence, and I'll talk about those in the next slide. So our mission is helping teams drive cross-functional collaboration by integrating tools, processes, and knowledge. We have hundreds of customers, including some big names that you see there, enterprises, as well as SMB, small to medium-sized businesses as well. So really all ranges of corporate sizes. So our family of products are shown here. The first two, as you see, I invite you to go check out our recorded webinars. You can see links to those on our website and under blogs that have summaries of those. So again, zAgile Connect is about integrating Salesforce with Jira. So for example, integrating the cases in Salesforce Service Cloud with issues on the Jira and product engineering teams side. And then Knowledge Bridge for taking Confluence pages, wiki pages, and publishing those as knowledge articles for Salesforce Knowledge. And of course, the topic of this webinar is about integrating Salesforce with Slack. So your support team's goals, what are those? Well, at a very high level, it's to close the loop with customers on submitted tickets in a very timely manner. And that means meeting the SLA compliance. That is the agreement between yourself and your constituents, whether those are customers or other stakeholders, and ultimately to achieve customer satisfaction, customer sat. So the obstacles to those goals are, number one, difficulty in getting quick answers. So you need to get the right information in real time, so immediately, and have a sufficient context associated to a case to get those answers. And you want to get prompt responses from the product team. So if you're a customer support agent, you need to be able to get that information quickly and easily from an engineer. And oftentimes it's difficult to escalate aging cases. They've been around a while. Customers are becoming unhappy. Maybe you're not meeting your SLA, you're making violations to the SLA. And then finally, knowledge is lost. So if you're going, for example, and having a Slack conversation, you might not recall who is that agent, what case was it associated to. And so it's problematic when that knowledge is existing or floating around, but it's not readily at your fingertips where it should be. So that's where ChatBridge comes in. ChatBridge is a plug-and-play application. So you can install, the connector has two components to it, one on the Salesforce side and one on the Slack side. And they install in less than 45 minutes, and they're ready to go. Out of the box integration between Slack and Salesforce. It helps you easily interact with Salesforce via Slack. Who is it for? Well, the primary stakeholder was customer support teams because we were designing it. But as you'll see, it really is suitable for the product team, engineering team, field teams, really all the teams within the organization to interface with Salesforce. So what kind of capabilities are we talking about? Well, first and foremost, breaking down communications between teams. So Slack commonly is the de facto standard for communication between teams. You can save team, get answers via Slack, get notifications. You can do more within Slack to search, create, update Salesforce records, and more. And you're saving budget since you don't need to have Salesforce licenses just to get some information out of Salesforce. And ultimately, why would you choose ChatBridge? It's pretty simple. You can increase your SLA capabilities, getting alerts on a case when it's reaching its threshold, and also maintain the chat history that's associated to a case. So next up is going to be Sanjeev and Eric demonstrating ChatBridge in action. But first, before we get there, let me talk you through some scenarios that they're going to show. First and foremost, it's about a support agent, and they need to get the product team's help on a case. And they want to be able to initiate a conversation from Salesforce to engineering within Slack. So, you know, for all the engineering person, the knows, they're just receiving a Slack message, right? The benefit you're going to see is that they have the context of the case associated with it as well. But as I pointed out earlier, it's not just for support teams. So sales teams, they can engage multiple teams. For example, a product marketing team can reach out to the product team for help on an RFI, request for information. Likewise, you know, the sales team can do that. They can interact with the marketing team for information around Salesforce as well. Interestingly, you can also send approvals to workflows as well via Slack. So product marketing can engage in win-loss analysis and get notifications of if an opportunity is won or lost. So immediately if a loss happens, they can be alerted via Slack and then go back and get more information about that opportunity. A business development lead can create a new lead, and they don't have to go to Salesforce to do that. They can just simply issue a few commands from Slack and boom, a new lead is created just after they've gotten off the phone, for example, with a new prospect. Okay, with that, I'm going to hand it over to Sanjeev. So I'll stop sharing.
Great. Well, greetings, everyone, and thank you for joining us again for the webinar. And so for the demo, I'm going to start. I've got two windows here, Slack on this side and Salesforce on this side, so you can see the real-time interaction between them. And I'll start first with some basic functionality of ChatBridge, which is related to ongoing messaging or conversation between Salesforce and Slack. And then later on, we'll move to more advanced features. So we'll start with the case, because this scenario here could be, for example, support may need some quick answers from internal product teams, or they may need to escalate something if, for example, they haven't received any response from engineering. So here you'll see, for example, we provide lightning quick actions in that you can add to any page. Now, this is available not just for case, but it's available for any Salesforce objects that have chatter enabled. So here, I'll walk you through what the quick action allows you to do here. So for starters, you can select a Slack channel. So here, support is already selected by default because that's what we were using previously. So let's say that I want to send a message to support about this case. So you know, maybe I can just say, please provide status on this ASAP, because I want to escalate this. Now, in addition to wanting to just send a message to Slack team and, you know, for something for the context that we want to get a response on, you can also automatically select summary or details. So this actually makes it much easier because support doesn't have to provide any additional information. They don't have to manually fill out anything. You know, all they got to do is, for example, here, select the channel, put the message here, and for instance, check summary or detail. Now, summary, these are configurable options here, which basically means that you can select what fields to send when summary is checked, just as a way of automatically providing a context, for whomever in Slack is going to be receiving this message. And details, similarly, is associated with the page layout. So this will give you a much more structured template for engineering to respond to. And both of them are very useful because they provide a structured way of communicating with engineering or product teams in this scenario, in this case, because then they have what they need, and it reduces a lot of back and forth where they may need more information about whatever it is the query is about. Okay, so you can easily select, just check these boxes, and we'll check both of them to show you what each one does. In addition to that, of course, the Lightning Quick Action also supports rich text. So, I mean, you can, format it however you want. You can add attachments to it. So let's say, we want to add like an image associated with this. You can add additional fields. So in addition to whatever is formatted here, maybe I want to, in some scenarios, add account or contact information or something like that. So let's say account name, for instance, we add account name and we send the message. So the idea of these quick actions is to make it very easy for support to be able to reach engineering, but also provide them very easily with whatever the context is associated with this particular message. Now, Slack, I mean, as you just saw, we've got the message that came in. So here is this is what detail checkbox does. It gives you a templated view, a PDF attachment that gives you the detail of the case. And as I said, it's a templated view, meaning that you actually can create a page layout for this particular purpose in Salesforce. And so that will automatically get populated. The summary checkbox here is this, where you can specify fields that you want to share. You may not always want to provide all the details, just summary may be enough in some situations. So you can select summary. Now here's the message also that comes in. And then of course the attachment, right? So here you have the attachment that is also shared with Slack. So this is such an easy way to communicate. Now, while you've done that, you can also see that the message that was sent is going to stay as part of the chatter feed. So in other words, it persists here as well as it persists here. Now, once we receive this message, for example, we can easily, let's say that I want to reply to this. So now you can have a conversation back and forth. So you can say in your response, yes, we will have, let's call it a fix by EOD. So, and, again, from Slack, you can send an attachment, for example, if it's relevant. So if something gets resolved or you want to send them some information, some documentation or whatever, then you can message it back. So here we see this bidirectional exchange because we send a message from this case into Slack, and you can see here, for example, here's the response that came back from Slack. So this is what was initiated from Salesforce. This is what was returned from Slack. So this is the starting point for general messaging between Salesforce and Slack, where Salesforce users can stay within the objects that they're working on. Now, it could be a case, for example, where support is either needing to escalate or they may just have a quick question they might want to ask. For example, they might want to know if a certain version of the product is supported or component is supported, for example, or they may be requesting some documentation. So in any of those scenarios, they can quickly reach product or engineering teams internally and get whatever they need. They can also escalate, which, as I mentioned earlier, and I'll show you later, but this can also be automated. The escalation aspect of it, particularly, we've seen customers use. So, for example, if a case has not been responded to by engineering within 4 hours or within 2 hours, and it's likely to be violating the SLA, then responses can be automated, because ChatBridge provides API for you to be able to do that. So now, so in this scenario, we're looking at customer support the same way you can expect to see with other objects as well. So for example, account, we have Slack Lightning Quick Actions, here, where you may want to actually maybe go to sales channel. And it'll be the same mechanism. So I'm not going to go through this, but you have the same options where you can provide account summary, account details, as well as, for instance, you can add attachments, you can add additional account fields or contact fields that are relevant for the message you want to send. And again, we have the same option available in Opportunity, where you have this, the Lightning Quick Action available with ChatBridge that you can add to the Opportunity page, and you'll have the same options available here. Okay, so that's the one aspect of it. Now, the other thing we've done in addition to that is so you have the option of Lightning Quick Action, as I showed you, but now with the latest version of ChatBridge, we're also introducing live chat. So here, for example, this is another Lightning Web component available now, where you can send a message saying, so let's say that for this account, we want to request contract review. We select the sales channel, and so whatever that might be, for example, but here, in addition to being able to add messages and let's say even attachments, for example, so we can, either take Salesforce files or upload a file, locally. So, I'll just stick to an image, but it could be a PDF or Word document or whatever. But in addition to being able to do that, we also are now supporting with this live chat. You can actually drag information about,
And if you need to choose the name, yeah.
So you can also drag and drop associated related objects just to provide some additional context. So here, requesting contract review, we've added some attachment, we've selected a channel, put the message there, and then we've also added, a record, a related record to this account with our message. And so now you can see, for example, I can easily send that, and in sales, you'll see all of that information show up here. So there's there's some information about the associated contact. There's, here you have the attachment, you've got the message. So I have all of that available to me right here. And if I want to respond to this, for example, let's see, where is the reply?
So mouse over the message, and you'll see the reply icon on the right side.
Oh, right here. Yeah, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, there you go. So here we can now respond to this. Yes, we will have it. And, again, from Slack, you have the option of attaching. So once you have provided some revisions, then you can send the attachments, and they will show up right here. So live chat works a little bit differently, because rather than having the messages go back and forth asynchronously from feed, in live chat, you'll see that happen right away. And so there are two different mechanisms for basically communicating with Slack teams. And I think the most important thing here actually is, the reason we provide this functionality and we think it's really valuable is because most of the organization exists in Slack. I mean, they're there, they're interacting in Slack. And so this makes it very easy to reach teams across different channels, whether it's sales, support, marketing, product, whatever. And even within each organization, there may be a lot of different channels. And so, first of all, you can reach them much easier directly from within Salesforce objects. So you don't have to go to Slack in order to, communicate and get the answers and then come back to Salesforce. The other thing is that all of the interactions, all the messaging exists in both applications. So, wherever you're working, so next time around somebody comes to this account or the case, they'll see what exchanges have happened with Slack teams just to help them figure out where things are. So that's why it's really important. And of course, the other thing is that, both from Salesforce and Slack, a single account is used to authenticate. So that means that, not everybody needs to have Salesforce licenses, for example, to be able to interact with, with Salesforce from Slack, as I'll show you later. So that's why this capability can be very valuable for teams, because it allows them to reach each other very, very quickly and easily. And I'll also show you how it's not just from Salesforce that you can initiate messages, but you can also do the same thing from Slack. If you want to send a message to an account or opportunity from Slack, you can do the same, as we'll get to later. And the last part of this messaging, as I mentioned earlier, is where you can automate using the API. So one simple scenario that we have set up is, like, let's say opportunities close 1, then in that scenario, automatically a message can be sent or will be sent to a Slack channel with some summary information about the opportunity. So this is where you can share activities in Salesforce with your Slack teams automatically. So let's say that we mark this opportunity as close 1, right? So Edge emergency generator. We just closed this deal. And now you'll see in Slack automatically messages getting sent, and it's up to you to configure that. But here in Sales, you'll see, for example, something along the lines of, hey, congrats to EMEA team for closing another deal, see the details below, and so on. So this makes it very easy to share. There may be just, you may want to share this with internal teams, or you may actually want to initiate the next steps. For example, hey, we just closed a deal. Now we need to get started with, let's say, onboarding process or whatever. So it's a way of engaging internal teams with next steps, with information that they need to be aware of in terms of what's happening. So this is also very easy to do by utilizing ChatBridge API. So this is so far what I've covered is is the general messaging, the communication that needs to happen between Salesforce and Slack, that ChatBridge makes it really, really easy. Now let's turn to Slack. In Slack, ChatBridge provides a lot of functionality for accessing Salesforce. So for starters, you have the /SF commands or actions. And so this is a good starting point, because here you'll see all of the different capabilities that you have that you can initiate from Slack. And again, the Slack users don't need Salesforce license for this, but you can configure permissions for specific users. In other words, you can control what they can or cannot do in Salesforce. And so here I can select an object. For example, let's say a lead, so this was the scenario that Andrew had pointed out. So, let's say, I just got a call from somebody requesting a demo. So now instead of going to Salesforce, if I just want to, for instance, I can quickly create a lead to say, hey, I just want to capture this, and also maybe send a message to the team in Salesforce to follow up. So this was a phone inquiry. Somebody was requesting a demo. And so I'll create a lead in Salesforce from within Slack. Now it has created the lead object, but I can also follow up with a message to say, please call and schedule a demo session ASAP. I mean, this can happen, and I think it makes it very easy. This is all that's needed, right? So now we've created a lead, and you can see that click on this and see what's happening in Salesforce. So in Salesforce, you'll see, for example, here's the lead that we've just created, the name, the lead source. So these are all the fields that you can configure in terms of what you must, be able to provide in order to create the object. But it's the minimal set because you want to make it easy for someone to do that from within, within Slack. And then you'll see the message here also, please call and schedule demo ASAP. So here, as in a very simple example of being able to create a lead, or same thing with the case or contact, all from within Slack. You can also, so there are some additional capabilities available to you. So for instance, from Slack, you let's say that, we want to maybe search a case. Because you can also update or provide some additional information related to this. So we can start with the case that we were working with before, and let's say, let's search and get the case. So now it will retrieve information about our Salesforce record within Slack. So here's the case that we were working with before, and I might want to just send a message to that case, but I can also view it. I can edit the case. So in some scenarios, for example, you may want to close the case from within Slack if the issue is resolved, or you may want to edit and provide some additional information on a lead or contact or case, whichever object that you've configured for these type of actions, because all of these actions are available based on what is configured for each object and for a specific set of Slack users. So if I want to, for instance, just send a message, then, maybe we want to let them know that we're still working on it and update by end of the week or something like that. So this makes it very easy to communicate. And here, for example, within Slack or within Salesforce, you'll see the message, in the feed item. So that shows up here for that particular case that we had queried. So this is so there's a number of different capabilities from Slack that are available to you. Going back to these Slack actions that are available or commands, you can post a message. For example, you can go and get access to objects to perform various actions like create, update, etc. This is for creating a new object. You just want to go directly and create a new lead, for example. Report, like if you want to request reports from Salesforce in Slack, this is useful, for example, without having to go to Salesforce. You can get monthly or weekly sales performance reports and so on, or specific reports related to activities, account, or opportunities. They can be also retrieved from within Slack. So there's a lot of capabilities here for you to perform all types of actions from Slack without having to go to Salesforce, which can make it very easy for teams to interact with Salesforce without having to go log into Salesforce and go through the different process. Now, I'm going to actually turn to Eric, because besides what I have shown you so far, which is really the first of all, the message exchange from Salesforce to Slack and Slack to Salesforce, but also being able to take perform a bunch of actions in Salesforce directly from Slack. We also support, with the latest version of ChatBridge, integrating Slack with Salesforce approval workflows. So Eric will demonstrate that capability.
All right. So what I'm going to show here is that I'm going to submit for approval an invoice within Salesforce to request more licenses for some tool. And this approval process is configured to send a notification to a Slack channel, to the procurement channel, which will allow a Slack user to continue with that approval process. So let me submit this for approval. And I'm going to choose John's manager, in this case, Howard, to approve that action. Now, let me first show you in Salesforce how this approval request looks like. So now I am in Howard's Salesforce account, and I'm going to open the approval request that I got from John. So the actions you can perform are to approve, reject, or reassign this request. Now on the left, I have Slack, and you can see that as part of the notification of this approval request, I'm getting all the details. These are configured as part of the approval layout, and also details about the current step that this notification is part of. In this case, the step is manager review. Now, the actions I can take from Slack, again, are the same as you'll be able to perform from Salesforce. So I can either approve, reject, reassign, and in some cases recall this approval process. I'll go ahead and just approve this request. And what you will see, okay, back into Salesforce. So I'm going to just go to John's Salesforce, is that as part of the approval history, you'll see the action that was just performed from Slack. So, right down here, you'll see that Howard just approved this request, and again, this step was performed from Slack. That's it from me. Back to you, Sanjeev.
Great, thank you, Eric. So in summary, then, just want to basically go back and recap. ChatBridge gives you capability to initiate messaging or conversations from each side, from Salesforce and Slack. It also allows you to perform a lot of actions from Slack, which is basically, create leads, contacts, etc., cases. Also, you can automate notifications from Salesforce to Slack, and finally, you can integrate Slack with workflows from Salesforce, so that you can easily, reach out to your teams, that are on Slack. That's more convenient for approvals and stuff for various activities that are happening within Salesforce. So now I'll turn over to Andrew for the wrap up.
Thank you, Sanjeev. Thank you, Eric. Fantastic demos. So just a couple more slides to wrap up. So first off, just licensing and pricing, how does that work? So the licensing is based upon a per Slack user who does want the interface with Salesforce capability. So we're not saying all Salesforce users, it's not all Slack users, it's only that overlap of those who want to interface with Salesforce via Slack. There you see the starting price at $1,200 per year per organization, and that's for 10 users per year. And then it's an incremental pricing, and the price decreases on a price per user on a tier basis. So for example, it's a discounted price when you get 50 users, 100 users, 500 users, etc. We do have a special discount, 50% off for zAgile existing customers through December 31st. So you've got about a couple of weeks to take advantage of that, and we invite you to do so. And so in summary, what is ChatBridge? It's about empowering you to increase team efficiencies and drive cross-functional alignment. So we invite you to try it out for 30 days for free. Again, if you're a zAgile customer, take advantage of that discount before the end of the year. If you have questions, we invite you to reach out to us at sales@zagile.com. This concludes the webinar. We thank everyone for tuning in. We will be posting this to the website along with a summary of the blog. So thanks again for your time, and this concludes the webinar.